Hello, hello, welcome everyone. So I see in the chat that you are more or less from everywhere around the world. So welcome again. Ciao to everyone. Okay, yeah, we have India, Latin America, Europe, UK, everything. Perfect. As you see, there is Daniele Mocchi with me. He will be available if you want to ask something in the chat that maybe I miss. He will reply to you. I think we can start. This first part is an introduction of the software, so eventually if somebody else will join us, they will have time. So let's go with the first slide. First of all, I'd like to recap a little bit all the softwares that we are used to work with and that as a KRA users or technicians or distributors you may find around working with our products. Talking about the past, our first two softwares to control our devices were KManager and eDSP. Now these are software that are working on the actual Windows 10 computers, but are only related to old products that are no more in production since years. So you only need to work with these two softwares if you have to do servicing or do something on old products like the old amplifiers, the KH4, the very first console series. Then we have EaseFocus 3. 3 actually is, I mean, it's there is a huge difference between the 2 and the 3. So let's talk about the 3. EaseFocus 3 is the actual mapping software for all the more or less all KRA products. It's made by the same company, FMG, that is doing Ease. It's free of charge for you. And you can find our models for EaseFocus on the website. So if you have to design a venue, understand how many speakers to use, which models, and have an idea of what will be the SPL and the coverage, EaseFocus 3 at the moment is the software to use. Ease, instead, it's the acoustic simulation software. At the moment, I think it's the only one, or anyway, the most diffused and the best one on the market. This is sincerely quite a complicated software. It's a software that usually it's used only by audio, acoustic engineers, architects, people that has to design a room, really simulate how the systems react in that room. It can simulate reverberation, reflections, etc. It's a software that has to be paid by the users. We have all the models. All our models are working on Ease. So if somebody asks, just go on the website and download the models. The GLL is the format of these models that are the same between EaseFocus and Ease. K-Framework is this generation control software for our products. K-Framework 2 is Windows only, and it's the software that you have to use now. So basically, from the Piccolo, the very first small 2.1 system, to the actual KH5 and KS5, the big line arrays, K Framework 2 is able to control the whole range at the moment. Apart from the Firenze series, that's the 5% that I worked. So K Framework 2 is a must to have, and if you have some doubt, if you want to be sure, that one works, sure. Then you may have used Harmonia. Harmonia, it's not a K-array software. Harmonia, it's a controlled software from PowerSoft. We use Harmonia for all the Firenze series. So the KH8, the KS8, the KH7. If you are going to use those softwares, you need Harmonia, that it's the one that you can download from the PowerSoft website. And then you find in our folders, whoever is a customer of the Firenze series knows what we are talking about. We have a dedicated plugin. So you just install the plugin on your computer and you got all the Firenze series models on Harmonia. And then we have the K Framework 3, that is what we are going to see today. The K Framework 3 is the new software. Is the new software for all the new products that we are going to release. Is already able to control a few of the actual products, and it will be the next generation software for us. We are also working on a new 3D mapping software that basically is going to replace EASE. So soon, talking about weeks, months, the idea is to release it officially in June. So there will be other webinars about this. We will have all the 3D mapping designing software together with K Framework 3, with the control software. The Mugello series and the KA24 and 84 are already on board on K Framework 3. So this is what you can control today with the software that you can download from the website. Soon we will have the 3D part, and the step after will be to have the full control of the Firenze series and all the beam steering calculations in K Framework 3. So for the summer, let's say, we will have just one software to download where you can do the projects, mapping, beam steering, and control the whole system. Okay? So let's go through K Framework 3 as it is today. The version of the website, it's more or less what we are going to see now. There will be another update just next week, first days of next week. So obviously it's our new actual software, so we try to do packages, but once a month usually we have a release with some update. Let's start it. First of all, the good thing for K Framework 3, and it's the decision that a few of you will do, is that it's multi-platform. So you can use it on Mac as on Windows, and this obviously it's a very important feature. Here we are. So that's the workspace. Let's make an example. So I will design an example PA system with a few products to see how it works. These are all the models that are available. So let's start, let's say we do a system with a bunch of KH2 and KH5. So I'm creating the old system. Soon we will have the auto alignment of the speakers and all those graphic and tools that will fast more these operations. But already like this, it's quite easy and quick. 8kh2. Then let's put a pair of, let's say, 3 subs. So we do a center sub, and then left and right. Then, apart from a few operations, more or less everything on this software is done via groups. So that you need groups to do a queue, volume, delays, etc. That's very important also to let's say, to manage properly the beam steering, considering that all our line arrays, the Mugello and the Firenze, are able to work with the beam steering with our technology. It's obviously fundamental that you tune a queue and modify just the cluster as a unique unit. Let's do some groups. Let's do one that includes everything. So we put in this way I assign which devices are part of the group, and that's it. So this group includes everything. Then we do a group only for the, let's say, one for all the subs. Let's do like this. Subs. These are my subwoofers. And we do another group only for the sorry, that's a KS5 that I don't need. And then we do a group only for the external subwoofers, so that I am able to bend a little bit the array of subs to have a better coverage. So let's do something like this. Okay. These two, all the subs, everything. Okay? More or less, that's what we have. We can add more or less as many groups as we want. The limit is 12 groups per device, so it's quite hard to reach it. But eventually, it's quite easy, for example, to put another group just for the tops. Yeah, let's go on like this. In the Mugello series, we have just one area that we can EQ, tune, etc. On the amplifiers, we will see we have input and output groups. So here, at the bottom of the software, we have the different functions. So names, it's what we were working now. The ID numbers of the speakers, we are on these ones, we are working in serial in 485, so we need to have ID, unique IDs for everything. And we are going to keep a similar system also for the future, for the new products that will have Ethernet on board. So we want to maintain this abstract layer in case of the Ethernet, so that it's independent from the IP address and then the network things. These are given automatically. Otherwise, you just click on one device and decide what to do and change it. So in this case, let's put this one on 12, 11, and do something like this. So they are all together. So, 1 second, that Mr. Daniele Mocchi is asking to, where is Daniele Mocchi? Daniele Mocchi, okay. Now Daniele Mocchi can answer your questions. Then we have presets. This is the Mugello, so there isn't much about presets, but we will see. We will see on the amplifiers. Here are just the device presets that you have on board that you can save, recall, etc. Routing. So the input selection for every speaker. IC gain, it's the input sensitivity for the IC input. Usually we suggest to keep it +12, +14, depending from the consoles that you are using, to be able to have it matched with the analog input. Firmware status, serial number, temperature, FIR filters. In this case, you can upload on the speakers the filters that you generated with EaseFocus 3. And LED, which is the possibility to light a big LED, blue LED that is on the front of the speakers to recognize which speaker you are talking with. There is a very useful function. Let's go, for example, on routing, that allows you to do operations all at once. So in the case I want to make a selection of the inputs on the whole cluster, usually it's what you need. Just keep the Alt button pushed on the keyboard and left click on the mouse. You see these are orange. And so now you are acting on all the routings of all the speakers that you selected. The orange, full orange, are coherent, and the one with the stripes are actually incoherent. So it means that in the selection that you did, there is something that is not coherent on all the devices. So don't care. Just double click 2 times until you got the select the function that you need. Here I want only analog 1 selected on all the speakers. Click anywhere else. And so all the speakers are selected to input 1. Obviously, you can do the same with everything. This function, it works also with the IC gain. So, for example, I want to move, just keep Alt pushed and move it. And I go to what I said before, +12. Let's do the same with the subs. This one, it's also useful, especially in the Mugello, if you want to play with the beam steering. So as soon as you uploaded your files, you can switch off the steering on the old system just with 1 click. This can be useful for understanding if what you are doing with the beam steering is what you really want or not. So just keep the Alt button pushed and left click on the mouse. Now we have our system. We have our system ready. Let's move. I don't think I can zoom it too much. We have to add that function, the zooming, the alignment, all the workspace tools have to be added. Yet, not at the moment. Okay. So let's move. Here, top right, you have to switch. Here we are in setup mode. What we cannot zoom, but what we have, if you are in the strong sun, you can switch to white. So everything switched to white color, so it's much brighter, definitely. It can be helpful. So we did everything. We go to tuning mode. It means you cannot modify the system anymore, but you can EQ and play with the groups. Down here, we have some different functions. We have, for example, the mute. So I can mute the old system at once. Can go to unmute single boxes. like this. So very useful to do solo checks. And you can work with the groups. So I'm muting the external, I'm muting the old subs, and so on. Then gain, delay, input delays, output delays, polarity that works in the same way at the mute. Temperature and signal monitoring. Basically, this is another good thing compared to K-Framework 2. We have a signal monitoring and a clipping monitoring on the amplifier. So you can see if the speaker is receiving a signal, if it's 0 dB, if he is clipping, if he is limiting. So just with a few colors, you got an idea of what's happening on the speakers. Going to play with the groups. So here you have the possibility to specially EQ. There is every group is working on the same filter banks of the speakers. So let's say I want to set up a filter like 2500 Hz, minus 9 dB. As soon as I used the first filter, I got another one. I have another one free that I can use to do something else. If I click here, I have a curve, so I can also work in this way. Every time I take a filter and I do something, you'll see down there that you have another one that is going to appear. Obviously, you can change the type of filters, high pass, low pass, shelving, low shelving, peaking, all the basics that you may need to EQ a system. If you want to get the filters back, because if you don't need it, you go to 0 dB and it goes back. Then, if, for example, in this case, let's play with the subs. If I start playing with the volumes are doing the same thing of the mute. So we are all going to work with the same. So Marco is asking how many filters. We have a maximum 12 filters per channel on the Mugello and 8 on the amplifiers. So these filters can be used by different groups. So that's more or less that's the maximum number of filters in the two models. Yeah, then we will depending from the models, we can have more. But usually to tune a system, I mean, it's what you need. Volumes, let's move something, for example, here. Let's say the old system has to be minus 9. The old system has to be plus 3 dB. Then I want to reduce the volume of the subs to minus 6. Okay? So I had to push a little bit the old system, maybe to compensate some gain structure or whatever, and then reduce the volume of the subs. If I go on the gain view, I will have a plus 3 on the old system, minus 6 on the subs. And here at the moment it's very small because it's made for the amplifiers, but we will make it bigger for the Mugello in the future. On every device, you can see the gain of that single device. So in this case, plus 3 on the tops, and the subwoofers, the external subwoofers are minus 3, the internal subwoofer is plus 3, because I removed the 6. So this is the same for the delay. It's like a DCA on a mixer. It's just a multiplier that is going to act on the gain or on the delay, the same element. So let's come back, and I have an amplifier here, so we can play with that one, just to give you an idea of what it is, the connection and the real device. I would like to have a full Mugello system, but doesn't fit my living room, so I have only an amplifier. Network. Network is where you find your devices. Obviously, you can also design the old system at home and then upload on the speakers when you arrive in place. In this case, we will do the same. Connections are RS485 serial. That is what I'm using now. I'm directly connected with a USB cable. And then Dante. We use our Dante devices, the Dante, to bring audio signal and also the remote control over the RS485. So basically, we are tunneling the serial over Dante. So we call it Dante because of that. We suggest to have the Dante controller installed on the computer so that anyway you can recognize all the Dante devices also for the audio part. Now, COM port that you have, the ID that you want to search from, especially if you have big systems, that very useful. It makes the discovery process much faster. And then discovery. And here we are. I have one amplifier, ID number 1. I can decide which direction to sync. So if I want it from the real world to the workspace, or if I want to bring what I did on the workspace to a real amplifier, or if I want to do nothing, for example, if I have to sync just a part of the system. In this case, let's see what's on the amplifier and bring it on the workspace. Sync, you can obviously also do bulk functions, so sync all with one click. And here we are. Okay, it's green, means we are happy. So we move back to the workspace. Okay, here I have the groups. So here I have my amplifier, KA24, that already has 2 groups that were part of the amplifier. So I need the groups to do a Q, to do serious tuning on the amplifier. So if I leave it with something on board, then when I bring it back on the workspace, everything is there, obviously. In this case, I have a group for the inputs. In inputs, we have a volume and 3 parametric filters, each channel. So here I have an amplifier that has 4 channels, so I can decide to group whatever I want. So in this case, I have input groups on 1 and 2, and then I have the output group to 1, 2, and 3. This is usually a 2.1 configuration, so stereo tops and mono subs. Let's do the same kind of example. So I want to group separately the subwoofer. So in this way, the subwoofer is number 3. So because I decided, you can put it wherever you want. So I want a group to EQ the whole system on the output, and then I want another group just to fine-tune the subwoofer only. ID presets. Let's have a look at this on the amplifier. On the left side, I have the device presets, the same of the Mugello, the scenes, the ones that are recalling the old status of the devices. On the right, on the amplifiers, I have the output configuration. All our speakers needs a dedicated preset to let them play their best. So you are able to match it and to configure it as you prefer. When you open the amplifier, brand new is blank, you just go there and select the configuration that you want. So let's do something different. Let's say I have a Viper on channel 1 together with, let's put another sub with the KU26. I have the control part, so another Viper 52 obviously matched with the same sub, and then I have that sub, the KU26, matched with the KV52. Done. Apply, it goes on board. So this moment is loading the presets. The match is very important because it's the function that lets adjust the crossover points. Obviously, we have speakers that are going from the KZ1, that it's a one single half-an-inch speaker, one of the smallest speaker on the market, up to the 3 x 12-inch stage monitor, huge, one of the biggest stage monitors on the market. So obviously, matching with subwoofers, it changed a lot the crossover point. And the subwoofers has to adapt. So what I'm doing in V1, saying, okay, you are the subwoofer, KU26, please match with the Viper, KV52. The subwoofer goes to check what's the high-pass filter on the Viper, and automatically it moves his low-pass filter to match it. So that's why it's very important to do the matching. Then you can save it as a device preset so that you can recall from the touch screen, etc. All these functions are available also on the touch screen. So out of the box, actually, you can also forget the software. Just do it from there. Then routing of the amplifier. This was already made, coming from the last webinar. So the 4 outputs, A1, A2, are the speaker number 1, B1, B2 are the speaker number 2, and the 3 inputs. So in this case, stereo input for the 2 tops, and mono sum on the subwoofer output. IS gain, the same as the Mugello. Firmware version, in case there are different firmware from here, you can update it. Status, serial number, temperature. In this case, we have 2 modules in one amplifier, so we have 2 temperature. FIR and LEDs are not available on the amplifier. Okay, here the dimensions are making much more sense. So let's do an example on the output. I want to read, let's do the same. Let's give 3 dB to everything, and then we go to the sub, and we take down 9 dB. I don't like subs. So 3 dB to all the 3 outputs, -9 on the sub, and here I got +3 on the tops, and -6, which is the result on the subwoofer output. Then all the rest. The only thing that is different on the amplifiers is that the input delay, which is the long delay that we have on the amplifier, and it's only on the input 3 and 4, it's done like this. So it's outside the groups. Then output delay via groups, polarity. This is all the same things that we saw for the major. Signal is this one. No, I don't have any input on it. Otherwise, they change colors. Let's say. Obviously, with models that are the same, you can do groups also between different amplifiers. So you can have a rack of amplifiers, obviously, and a group different channels or on different amps. That's it for this part. If you have a question about this, I want to write down before I switch to the azimuth part. Let's. No, at the moment, these are the only products. We will give priority to the Firenze series for the integration in ER. Then, obviously, if we have a few days free, we will put on also the KMT, but sincerely, it's at the end of the to-do list. We are giving priority to bring the KH7 and the KH8 the moment, and later on all the 3D part, which is, believe me, very, very cool and important. So let's switch off this one, and let's here we are. Okay. Azimuth. Good. Here we are talking about all the azimuth part, which means K802 is the small amplifier that comes with the azimuth. That one is completely different from all the other amps, but it's also the basics for all our future products. So it's where we are testing new things and thinking of developing all the new things for the next years on the same platform or on a similar platform. So let's see how it works. Basically, you already know, let's say, I suppose that you already know the product, so I will go just through the software part of that one. These are the apps and things that you may find using the Azimuth. Azimuth Discovery is an application that you find on Android and iOS that just let you discover and find the Azimuth devices that are around you in your network. So you just connect to the same network and you will see if there is something and where is it. Then you just click on the one that you want to control and you open a browser on your phone or computer or whatever with the application, which is this one. The Azimuth control application is what's inside the Azimuth. It's a web server, a web page in there. So it can be opened by anything. You just need a browser, an updated browser, let's say. It's quite actual technology, so it may not work on Windows XP and Internet Explorer, but it works on anything else. And that's on board. Then there is the Azimuth Remote, the one on the right, which is only iOS. It's basically a software remote control made to give a very basic, fast, and easy tool for the end user. It's an app that has to be configured by the integrator, and then you can do, we'll see what you can do. You can help to make the things easier. The azimuth control actually is the main tool. It's what you need. It's what you can, you just don't have to configure. You just click and go and it works. Let's go through that one. I will open it on my browser. Here it is. Do you see? Yes, you see. So here, for example, I'm on my computer, on my browser, and I open this azimuth that I have at home. Let's start from the top. Okay. Audio sources. All the audio inputs that you may have. Bluetooth player, internal player, I mean, analog inputs, and optical inputs. By default, everything is open. Sincerely, there is no major reason to switch it off. Everything is open, so as soon as you put sound in it, it plays, it works. You can switch it off, the analog and the optical. Don't do it, really. It's really dangerous because then you can switch it on again only from the app. So be careful and don't do it, at least not if you don't really need it. There are commands to do it from external controllers like Crestron, MX, Extron, and those ones if you need to. That's maybe the only real application where you need it. Volume control. This is a 4-output amp, but it's a stereo amplifier, 2 channels. So basically, it's a 1 volume control, fader, volume up, volume down with the buttons, mute, all the basics. And here we have the player. On board, we have a USB player. It reads all the major, most common audio formats. All the basics, play, pause, stop, repeat, shuffle, commands of a normal player. And down here on the bottom left, 2 functions. Actually, the auto start at boot is usually what you may need. It means as soon as you have power on the amplifier, it starts playing music. And that's what you need in a lot of applications like museum, retail, all those totem things. So just flag that one. As soon as it got power, it plays. The other one is auto start on connect. So it means, example, an hotel room or a user area where they you put the USB stick with the tracks, it starts playing. That's the other. That's auto start on connect. Then web radio. It receives web streams. It's mainly done for in-store radio. One of the biggest market for these products are retail, commercial, totem, digital signage. So in this case, you just enter the URL of your in-store radio. It goes, plays. You got the music from internet. And Spotify, it's a Spotify Connect device. It's a Spotify Connect speaker. So just plug it with the Ethernet cable to a network that has internet, and you find it as a Spotify Connect device. Let's see the local streaming. Local streaming, it's a multi-room system. It's a streaming system. It's a web stream, so it gets latency. So you cannot use it with a microphone and to do a delay line or to connect other amplifiers. It adds like 2 seconds of the latency at the beginning. After that, it's synchronized. So if you want to use it in a room to do left and right of a room or things like that, it's perfect. It's perfectly synchronized. but it's made for playback sources. Here you have all the list of all the azimuths that you have in your network, and you can decide which is the master and which are the slaves that are receiving the signal. Whatever is played or whatever it gets in the master unit, so it can be analog, it can be optical, it can be Bluetooth, it can be the internal player or Spotify. It's streamed to all the others. This volume and this standby are the same volume and the same standby that you see on the other page. So basically you can use it for another room, and then to that amplifier of the other room you can still have your remote to control the same volume. Obviously in a network with one of these systems, so you can have something that it's not part of the multi-room stream. There is, theoretically, there is a limit of like 200 devices. Sincerely, we never tested with so many, but we tested with 40, 50 devices. It works, no problem. It's just a broadcast. So then, audio part, you got a graphic equalizer with there is a strange number of bands, basically because we wanted to give some more detail in the mid-loss area, which is usually what you need the most to do room correction. And you can do whatever you want. Basically, this is. You can save and recall presets, in this case. So nothing much to say about a graphic equalizer to you all that I think you are audio engineers. Input levels, analog, optical, and the player part. And output levels, this one can be useful, especially if you want to adjust the subwoofer balancing level. Network and Bluetooth. Network and Bluetooth, we have. It's a Bluetooth speaker, so you can find it and connect to any Bluetooth player. It works with a pairing mode. So you let's start the pairing mode, then it stays in pairing mode for 3 minutes. You have all the time to connect to your with your devices. You can start the pairing mode also from the external remotes, and also from another thing that we will see. Here, up here, you have the list of the devices that are paired with the system. You can then forget one by one or forget all at once. Same thing, used a lot in hotel rooms, places that are rented. So when the customer goes out, you can erase everything. It has a Wi-Fi, but the Wi-Fi is only to access it. It's only an access point to configure it. It's not a client. So if you want to use multi-room, Spotify, web radios, etc., cable, Ethernet cable, that's what you need. Absolutely. The Wi-Fi, it's a small antenna inside, so if you are offline, you go around with your phone, or you connect to the Wi-Fi one-to-one, you can enter this application and configure it. After that, sincerely, we strongly suggest to switch it off, the Wi-Fi, completely, because especially if you have it connected with a cable also, it may be dangerous, because I'm sure you forget to change his Wi-Fi password. So it's an access point to your network at that point. So let's take care of that. Ethernet settings, DHCP or static, quite easy. Info, we have a user manual, we have the serial number, you can change the name of the product and the country code. And advanced, which is the best page. There are a lot of things to do here. We have the basic system controls, standby, reboot, factory reset, a demo button. The demo will start a default track at the maximum volume on the amplifier. So very useful to do demos around to your customers. You just arrive, you click that one, it goes. Then firmware update. This is the only firmware that you have to take care about. Are available online. So like in this case, this is connected to internet. He found out that there is a new firmware online. So you can download it and install it. If you have it offline, you can download it on a USB stick and then just plug the USB on the amplifier and do the update offline. Hardware control, there are 4 GPI on the back of the amplifier that you can use and assign to different functions. This is very useful to give a very basic, easy access to the amplifier to any kind of user. They just recognize a short circuit, a closed circuit. So any $1/2 switch that you may find on the market, it's okay. That just generate a click, and that's it. And these are the functions at the moment. So mute and mute, set the volume to a particular level, increase and decrease the volume, play and pause Spotify, and go in Bluetooth pairing mode. Automatic standby. Automatically wake up from standby means that as soon as you got an audio signal in from any source, you wake up. The other one automatically enters standby after 15 minutes. So if both of these, like in this case, are on, it's a kind of energy saving mode. After 15 minutes, it switched off the amps, and then it gets back on when it receives it. Output configuration is exactly what we saw in K-Framework 3 for the other amplifiers. So every output can be used to drive a subwoofer or a top and matching with the other speaker. Here we have all the presets that are that can be driven by this amplifier. PBTL, it's a special way to use the 2 channels. We use it for the subwoofers. Basically, is doing a parallel between the 2 channels. So you got the sum of the power of the 2 amps on half of the impedance. Sorry. So we use it to send 100 watts on 2 ohms. That's it. And last but not least, the routing. Obviously, routing and output configuration are already set up if you buy it in an Azimuth kit. The Azimuth kit, it's plug and play. It's already done. If you buy it as a standalone amplifier, as a K802, in that case, you have to configure this part. Okay, that's it for this. And let's see, one moment. The Azimuth remote. So this is what you have, the discovery, to find it, and the remote. The remote is only for iOS. It's only for iOS for different reasons, but also because on the Android devices, you can do the same things just using normal softwares that you find on the Play Store if you want. If you need more information about this, just write to me I will help you. But there are a lot of apps that are working with widgets on Android that you can assign to do any commands that you need. These amplifiers communicate via Ethernet with HTTP REST protocol. So it's compatible with everything, more or less. We have an API document that we can share with you if you need it. And if you search on the Play Store, HTTP REST controllers widget, you find a lot of things that you can use and play with it. On iOS, we don't have that one, and so we did this remote application. This one, basically, you have all the basic commands: standby, Bluetooth pairing, play, pause, volume, etc. And then you have these 4 buttons down here that you can program to do whatever you want, basically, using the same commands, REST commands. And especially can be used to control not only the, let's say, the azimuth, the master azimuth, but also other azimuths that you have around on your network. So in an installation like in a restaurant, in a shop where you have more than one room, you can assign to those buttons like switch on or switch off that room, or set the whole volume at this level, and so on. Let me show you the user manual. The user manual, which is not here. Let's do this. Azimuth guide. Here it is. So this is the user manual that you can find also on the website. And if we go to page 16, let's see, it takes a moment to know something more. Here we are. So here there are the instructions. That the one on the right is the setting page of the app, where you can customize the 4 buttons, enable or not, and where they have to go and what's the command. And down here you have a few example functions. These are all the basic functions that you have. If you need anything else, just ask to us, and we can give you the commands to do that. So that's it. More or less, we are done with this one. I would like to share with you these 2 questions. So if you can answer this one, this is just a easy question about what system are you going to use for this kind of softwares, knowing that a lot of you are technicians that maybe are forced to use Windows also because of other softwares. Then I hope one day somebody will answer it with Linux, but it's more a joke than a serious question. And okay, still missing somebody. Okay, more or less, yeah, more or less it's always I think we can going to be, we have some more Mac users today than usual. Okay, let's share with you. Okay. here it is. So 3426 Windows and Mac. Okay. And the other one, the other question is more interesting, and it's also, here it is. So if you scroll down, you should have the other one. Okay. The other one is about digital transport, so Dante, DB, those technologies. I would like to, we are thinking to integrate and working to integrate Dante directly on the K802, the azimuth amplifier. So probably in the future, that would be something. At the moment, sincerely, we have a lot of installations, a lot of users that anyway are doing Dante using the Avio adapters or the Amphenol Dante adapters. Sincerely, it's a very cheap and easy solution. But obviously, that's something that we are thinking. Okay, let's close the polling and okay. And this, yeah, okay, here Dante won in both questions. Guys, more or less we're done. This was the whole overview on our softwares. If you have any question, just write it down here. Daniele, if you want to say something in the meantime. Okay. Okay, good. If you have any question, just write it down, and I will try to answer, and Daniele with me. Next week we have a lot of other webinars about live events. Yeah, Daniele is pushing that too. About the portable series, for live events, concerts, etc. And then we will go on with Azimuth, Rail, and this webinar the week after. Yeah, we are. Let's use this weird time to do all these events. If you want to go deeper on something, and maybe you have some customers that you can put together to go deeper on these arguments, just feel free to ask to us. We can arrange it. We can make it happen easily, definitely. Okay, Daniele shared the link for the new webinars. I invite you all to download it. Download the K-Framework 3 maybe next week if you don't have the urgency, so maybe you will get already the new version. Good. Thanks to you all, guys. I think we can. I think we can close it.